Hello everyone! Welcome back to Drawn by Annie channel. This is me, Annie, and I will be drawing for you today. Grab your tea, coffee and snacks and let's dive into today's video. It's March outside and the weather is going up and down in temperature, so your dearest friend Annie got sick again. Hence my voice is a little bit off, but nonetheless I'm still working on my artworks because, as one famous person said, show must go on. So today I'm here to present you my newest style study, and it's also a throwback into my teenagehood, whatever the correct name is. Anyway, so this is a character from an old anime/manga series called Shugo Chara, and the character I'm going to style study today is Hoshina Utau. And as you can see, I have already prepared the sketches for both of the styles, so the original one on the right side and my style interpretation on the left. And today is going to be a video about coloring the original style, and like always I'm going to showcase you the detailed process of coloring and break down the key points of the coloring process idea and whatever is important in my opinion. So should you happen to, learn alcohol-based markers coloring, you can use this video as sort of a guide and a source of someone else's experience. Or if you're not learning anything, that's fine too. You can just see how the process is going if you're curious how the traditional medium artworks are made. Anyway, I hope this video will be of use and entertainment, so enjoy! So when I'm doing a style study, what I usually start with is thoroughly making a research about the style and looking through the details, and that usually happens like in two phases. Firstly, I'm trying to take a look on a general idea and some general characteristics of the style. Usually it's the facial features and proportions of the bodies of the characters, like body to head ratio and stuff like that. And I'm usually looking for some visual clues as well, like color palette and general vibes of the style. Like, is it a bright art style? Is it a dark art style? Is it trying to showcase like childish stuff, or is it more like adult oriented, if that makes sense? Because usually anime meant for children and meant for adults looks very different. Children's shows tend to be bright, cute, colorful, and pretty simple in the art style, so say less detailed. And something that's meant for more adult or like teenage stuff usually tends to have more detailed art styles and different color palettes, so less saturated in my opinion. Not all, but general tendencies from what I've seen are like that. So what I've picked up from Shugo Chara's art style is that their characters look very similar to each other. That's one thing. There's really not much difference between boys and girls, as the characters are pretty young aged, because it's teenage/children oriented and the characters supposed to be relatable, so they're all going to school and all that. And visually I can see how the head to body ratio is pretty big, so it's semi chibi, if I may name it like that. Like, the head is pretty big compared to the rest of the body. Legs and hands tend to be very thin and long, which we usually see in teenagers who are rapidly growing. And the faces are also squeezed, so it looks a little more chibish, so like younger. And the forehead and the rest of the head is pretty big, which is also usually seen in children. So all the visual clues like this and the overall look of the characters make it very relatable to the audience that it's meant for. There are going to be some minor spoilers ahead, so yeah, that's a warning. From the beginning of the show, Utau stands as villain, or like an antagonist to the main protagonist, Hinamori Amo. By the way, if you want me to draw her as well, let me know down in the comments. So until she has gotten her redemption arc, which is happening later in the show, she is all this dark goth girl vibe, and you know, her character palette is all black, purple and dark, even though she's a blonde character, which suggests that she has some bright sides on her, but in the beginning of the show she doesn't show it just yet. But by her design we can clearly see that she is like a big bad girl, you know? She's more powerful than your average side characters, just to make the conflict a little more intense. And her powers are quite unique because they give her special abilities to influence others, as she's a singer. Even her name suggests she's a singer, because Utau from Japanese translates into a verb to sing. I really like how the details are very straightforward in this show. Even though I'm not a speaker in the Japanese language at all, it's nice to find such details when you're looking deep into it. I'm not sure if Utao is a typical tsundere character, because she kind of has some traits of it, but some are not quite it. I'm sorry, I'm not too much into this type of character stuff. But later in the show, she actually becomes friends with the protagonist. And later on in the show comes to help when she's in trouble. Maybe it's just like a redemption arc stuff, not a personality trait. I don't know. If you watch the show, let me know down in the comments what you think it is. What I meant to say is characters like that usually have specific art style choices that make them similar and kind of put them into the same category. They all tend to have a specific shape of the eyes, which is like, you know, a little narrower. And to me, they also remind like a cat look or a fox look, which is a little bit cunning. And that's the trait that usually is a trait of a villain or a former villain. I don't know, I feel like I'm crazy sometimes because I see all these similarities in all different shows, and I'm not sure if everyone else is seeing this too, or am I the only one? Please let me know down in the comments I'm not the only one. Because sometimes when I'm drawing a fan art of a character, I can find like at least 3 or 4 other similarly looking characters that have similar stories or similar character traits or similar visual clues. And I'm not sure whether it's a character type or like a, you know, genre. Like in this case, this is a goth girl character in a setting that is not fully goth, by the way. So she really stands out with all her outfit and overall vibe. She reminds me of Misa Amane from Death Note series. At least by the visual looks. She is completely different in a character type or personality, but like you get the idea. So yeah, sometimes I feel like there is some sort of patterns in between the different shows that I watched. It would be fun to draw these types of characters on one sketchbook spread to kind of showcase the similarities and everything. I think that's the idea I'm gonna actually do at some point, as a proof that I'm not crazy. So yeah, anyway, back to what I was saying. In the part 2 of the style study video, I'm going to showcase you the coloring of my style interpretation. So all the same criteria that I've mentioned during this video is going to be done as well, but with a little bit of shape differences and a twist to my style. In fact, you already can see the sketch that I've prepared for the second part, but I'm going to work on the coloring and the line art in the part 2, just like I did in this part 1. But before I finish this, I wanted to specifically highlight the line art rendering part of this artwork. So like always, I'm doing the line art after I'm done with the coloring, when I'm coloring with alcohol-based markers, just to avoid potential smudging. And as I work on it, I decided that I would specifically work only on lines on the right part of the drawing, so you can see side by side how much of a difference the line work actually makes. Because a lot of the times people tend to underestimate the line work, if it is a part of the art style, of course. Like a lot of artists tend to just do it once. They are placing their lines on top of their coloring, and they don't do the line weight, nor they do like an actual line art, if that makes sense. So just drawing over your sketch with one layer of lines, it's not kind of a line art, it's rather part of the coloring, if you ask me, because it looks more like a line sketching, not line work. So in my humble opinion, if we're talking about line artwork, it actually needs to be very precise and very detail oriented, and it's very obvious when you look at it side by side. And honestly, line work usually takes as much time as the coloring, if not longer. Because in line work you need to really be that precise and very, very careful, or also be very skilled in hiding mistakes. That also works. But yeah, I think a good line work adds a lot of volume and contrast to the whole picture. And I myself really appreciate artists who do a good line work. And I really enjoy doing it too, honestly. I think I mentioned it a lot of the times in my previous videos that line art is actually my favorite part of the art. I don't like coloring as much as I like to do the line art. And I'm not sure why, it's just like a fun fact. Anyway, I think I'm done here with part 1 of Utau Hoshina style studying, and I really hope that you liked this video, and also stay tuned for part 2 of the style study. And meanwhile, you can support me and my channel by leaving a like, commenting on the video and what you think about the artwork and the techniques used in it, subscribing to this channel, and also checking out my other social media that I've linked in the description. I'm wishing you to stay safe, happy, healthy and wealthy, and also a wonderful day ahead, and hope to see you in part 2. Bye bye!